Welcome, it's Gail here. In this video, I'm going to show how to create the little bird on the horse's back. If you are interested in creating the horse, and if I show you this picture over here, there's a bird and a dog. There are other videos that are part of this series, but they can operate as separate pieces. That's why I have not numbered them 1 through 4. So anyway, I'm going to show you how to make this little bird over here. I have a Google page open. We're going up to the Google apps in the upper right hand corner. I'm going to Google Drive. And if you haven't created a folder for animals, please do so. You can just go to the new and plus sign right here and then click on folder and give it a title and you're ready to go. Now we're going down to Google Drawings by going to more at the bottom and coming over to where it says Google Drawings. I'm in here. I'm going to click up here and say little bird. And I'm going to save it to or move it to that file so I can find it later on. So I'm going to file and I'm going down to move and I'm going to type in, I got to find my animals folder there. I don't have to type anything in. I just have to select that and move it. And now we're ready to go. I already have a page open here. This one I'm going to make fairly large. However, I am going to add it to the other picture in a little bit, and I should go on ahead and get that one pulled up here. So all I have to do to get into my folder to find my other artwork is go to Google Drive, and maybe I will create this right on the horse's back, and I'm going to click on this one. So if you were starting a new one and you're not going to do this whole picture, you would go to the other one like I just showed. I have this little circle or this little oval and circle here. All I'm doing is coming up to shapes. I'm going to click on this little triangle right here, and I'm just kind of figuring out my shapes. Now I have this canvas already saved as a page to 30 by 30, so if you haven't done that yet, it's best to come into custom. So you would just come down to where it says custom here and type in 20 by 20 or whatever shape you're working with. Just make sure that it's proportional. Otherwise, it will get all messed up. But I know that my picture over here was 8 by 8, so 20 by 20 will work. So I'm clicking apply there. And now I'm going to zero in on this picture by going to view, going to zoom, and I'm going to come into probably about 200% and see if this will work. And that's going to work really well for this picture right here. And I'm just going to move this down a little bit by selecting the arrow tool right here, and maybe bring it down to about right here. And I'm still not quite sure about these shapes. I just want to make this one a little bit bigger, I think. And I'm looking at this angle right here to see if that's about right. And that looks pretty good. I'm just going to use a couple more shapes to kind of help figure out the shape of the animal before I go around it with the curve tool. So I'm coming down to the triangle tool right here. I'm just going to hold down, or I'm just going to pull out a little shape right here, and then I'm going to make it a lot more skinny by pushing it on the side. And then I'm going to rotate it, and then I'm going to bring it up to the little bird right here, and then we'll see how much longer we need to make this. And you can have fun with this and change it any way you like. And then I want to kind of make sure that's near the bottom there. And I do want it more over on the side. And then it looks like it's up, angled up a little bit more. And I want to exaggerate that a little bit. And I'll probably make this a little bit more skinny right there. And maybe a little bit longer. I'm not worried about how this looks because I'm going to trace around it. I'm just worried, or not worried, I'm just looking at the outside shape here. So that looks pretty good. I think I will add on a tail right here by just going to the select line tool over here and going down to curve. And I'm just going to kind of figure out the shape right here for the tail, because later on I'm going to come in with more detail. And that looks pretty good. And then I'm just going to close this off. And then I'm also going to do an angle. I'm going back to the select line tool and coming down to polyline. And I'm just going to kind of get the angle of these legs real quick right here. And it looks like it will be taking place about right here. And I'm just coming out a little bit, and I'm thinking, I think their legs, yeah, the legs go back here. So I'm going to come out here, and then I'm not actually drawing the feet, but I could if I wanted to, you know, by going back and forth like this. So I'm going to come back up and do that in a little bit. I'm just keeping it like that for right now. And then I'm going to do that for the other leg real quick by coming over here and just kind of figuring out I'm going to go about right here and then come over down here and just kind of create a little shape to kind of get started. So I almost have this finished. Just going to finish that part like that. And now what I'm going to do is group all these together by holding down the shift key on the keyboard and then selecting each shape. But if you see that this is, I'm still in that drawing tool, to get out of it, I can hit escape on the keyboard or come up here and use the select tool, the arrow tool, to select that one. So I'm holding down the shift key to select all of these shapes right here, and I'm going to group them together before I start to create my drawing. And then I'm going up to arrange, down to group. Okay, now we're ready to start the drawing. And I think I'm going to use the curve tool and maybe come back in with the line tool to finish the legs if I want to, but I'm going to try it all together using the curve tool. We'll just see what happens. So I'm going down to the curve tool right here, and I'm ready to start with the head right here. And I'm just starting to follow along with the curve, and every time I slow down a little bit, I'm actually clicking as I move the cursor around, and it looks like it's going to be a little bit less rounded there, but I'm clicking around the curve right here. And I want to come down here a little bit. I'm just going to make another one just in case I need it. So it's better to have a couple extra points there just so that you have something to move later on if you don't like the way it looks at the end. And then I'm going to come out here with the tail. And then I will come in a little bit. The great news about magnifying your picture by using the zoom tool, you have a lot more control over using the curve tools and the polyline tools. If you click too close to, you know, if it looks like, or if the computer or the program thinks that you click too close to it, thinks you want to end that line, and we don't want a line, we want to create a shape. I'm going to come in here and we're going to see about this leg. I'm just going to come out and come down, and then coming back in, and then I'm just going to come back here a little bit just to kind of create the look of a foot. And I'm not trying to be really particular about it. It's just something kind of simple. Then I'm going to come in here and back up, and then I'm going to come over to this area over here, and then I'm going to come out to here and out. And then I'm going to come in here with this toe, and then coming over like so. We'll change this a little bit later on if I need to. And I just want to kind of make another little line right there. And we're starting to get somewhere here. And we're almost done with the outline shape here. And that's the shape I have. What I'm going to do right now is get out of this tool by selecting the arrow tool. I'm just going to move this over to the side, and I'm going to get rid of these group shapes because I no longer need them. I have this shape right here, and then what I'm going to do is double click in the center so I can see these lines real quick and see if I can start to move some of these around to kind of get the look that I wanted. Maybe I want that to come out there. Maybe we will just show that this is a little bit more curved right here, and maybe bring this down a little bit here too. And we'll see how this works out. Maybe I'll move this one up a little bit. Yeah, I like that better. I'm going to bring this out here too. And then it looks like we got a really major curve here, so I'm just going to see if I can figure out how to straighten that out a little bit. And I might keep it a little curved since it is whimsical. I do want to move this one out a little bit so we have more of a finished leg there. I'm going to move this in over here and this in this way too a little bit. And we'll just keep it kind of whimsical looking like so. And I'm going to move this one back here just a little bit. And maybe See about rounding this head off a little bit here too. Come in here. Okay, and then I'm coming over here. And that looks a little bit better. Maybe I'll make this a little thicker right here. The only thing with the curve line tool is sometimes if you have to change a dot or spot a lot, it makes it a little bit harder to control how it's going to curve. So it's really easier to get the shapes as close as you can. I'm just going to make this one a little bit longer here, make this one a little bit wider. And maybe make this one a little bit thinner here too. And I do want to make this a little bit thicker right here still. And that shape's looking a lot better. I'm just going to click off of it so I can see the shape. I see that there's a little funky corner right here. I'm just going to see if I can kind of even that out a little bit. Click off of it again. And I'm going to keep this for right now. Except for this part right here, I need to make that a little bit thinner. So just changing that. I also want to bring this in more, and maybe we'll bring this back here. See how that looks. Still kind of has a weird curve right here. Maybe I can just bring that down, and unfortunately it's going to mess with that line, but that's okay. I can move this one in here and maybe move this one out a little bit more as well. So, you know, just play around with it, see what you can come up with. And now what I'm going to do is create the wing. So I'm going back to the curve tool right here, and I'm just going to kind of create my own wing. Maybe I will add a little bit of the curves like you see on the tail right there. I'm just going to keep it to 2 though. And then I'll come up here and I'm going to round it off right in here. So I definitely want to connect those lines. Then I'm going back to the select tool, double clicking inside to find the curve, and I'm just going to see if I can kind of fix this up a little bit. And that looks a lot better. Now I'm going to click on the bird shape, and I'm going to get rid of that outline by going to border color, choosing transparent. Then I'm coming over to the fill color, going to gradient. And I already have this color palette because I've been working on this drawing. So if you did the other projects with me, you'll have these. Otherwise, you will have to make them. I will just make one to kind of show you by going to custom. And let's say that I'm going to add one right in here. I just added a little stop right here. I just click on each square or circle, come up to the toggle next to the select gradient stop color, and choose a color that I want for the bird. So I'm going to actually stick with a purple for that part right there. I'm going to click on the brighter purple here, and then I think I'm going to come over here and see if I could, I don't know if that will work together well. I'm going to try it, and I'm going to move this a little bit closer over, and I'm going to click OK and see what I have. And that's kind of fun. I'll stick with that for right now. And now I can kind of see areas that I might want to fix. I kind of like this right here, but this leg looks really funny right here, so I'm going to see if I can fix this. I don't have enough lines there, so that was part of the issue. Let me see if I can move this one in, and that already looks better. And now I'm going to click on the wing right here, and I'm going to change the color of it. I'm just going to have fun with this and see if I can go into gradient and click that same color palette right there. I'm going to get rid of the line by going to transparent under the pencil line tool there. And now I have my bird. I'm just going to create a little eye there too by going to shapes and coming over here and taking the circle shape, just going to pull out a little eye right here. And I think I'm just going, actually I will make this with a little color around it. I did that for the others. So I'll do the same thing here. I'm going to move this back, and then I'm coming to my gradient colors over here, and this was the color I was using for the overall eye color. I'm going to get rid of that black line around it by choosing transparent. Now I'm going to click on this. I'm going to duplicate it by hitting Command plus D or Control plus D. Now I'm going to hold down the Shift key so I keep the circle the same size. while I pull this in a little bit, and now I'm going to make this black. By coming up to here, and I might try this radial design right here and just kind of make it round like so, and that's kind of fun. I like that. Now this is kind of a funky shape right here still. Maybe I'll come back in and change that. Now I'm going to click on the wing right here, and I decided I want to make this bigger. I'm just going to bring it down by pulling it out like that, and that's working pretty well. And now I want to add some designs, so I'm coming back to the curve tool. I'm going to come around the neck here, and I'm just going to kind of curve it downward. And then I'm going to come in here and just make kind of a line right here, and I can make it, okay, that looks good. And then I'm going to come over here and change that to maybe this red orange. Again, you can play around with the colors like we did with the overall color of the bird if you want. And now I'm going to the select tool to get out of that tool, and I'm coming up to the line tool right here to choose transparent. And now I'm just going to play around with the shape and see if I can get this to look the way I want it to. And I do want to make this a little bit more curved and a little bit thinner. By doing this, I can also kind of work on the overall head of the bird. And I have that there. Now, just to let you know, I'm clicking on the overall shape of the bird, double clicking inside because I want to move some of these lines out that I wasn't quite happy with. And this is looking kind of weird right here. Might move this one out. And I think I'm going to have to move this beak out a little bit more so it doesn't look so weird. I was hoping to be able to keep that angle up there, but I can see that it is pretty funny looking. Okay, so I have that, and I'm going to add just a little bit more here by choosing a curve tool, and I'm just going to make a line go across here, curving it downward. I'm clicking, click, 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 and now I have that shape. Getting rid of that line by choosing transparent, coming over here to be able to select that design. I'm coming over here, I'm going to choose a color for it. Maybe I'll try the light orange right here, double clicking on it again so I can start to get the shape. Oops, that is not what I was after. We will fix it. So that's what I mean about having enough points that you can move things around so that you have more creative control. Now, if you're using Google Pages, or if you, not Google Pages, but Apple devices, and you're using Pages, they have something on their program where you can add dots or you can add points and you can delete them. But I don't think Google Drawings has something like that right now. So I'm going to click off of there, and that looks pretty good. I think I will come back up to this shape. I'm going to duplicate it by hitting Command plus D or Control plus D. It's Command plus D on Apple devices. Otherwise, you'll choose Control plus D. And I'm just going to bring this down. And I'm going to double click in here so I can bring the lines over and see if I can kind of come up with the overall shape I want for this. And I want to make this thinner, so I'm just going to grab the whole thing, see if I can make it skinnier. And that means that I'm going to have to remodel it a little bit. And we'll see what it looks like far away in a minute too. Okay, so we got that. That little curve right there is kind of funny. I want to bring that in. And this one I'm going to change to a different color. I don't know, I might try this blue right here. Hope that didn't show up very well. So I'll go to this one over here. And that is definitely showing up. Now I'm going to take this shape and duplicate it by hitting Command plus D or Control plus D. And maybe I'll bring it out to the end here. I'm going to make it shorter or smaller just so it gets close to fitting without me touching it or anything. Now I'm going to move it in. and I'm going to make it a little bit thinner. So one way you can add variety to your artwork is using a variety of thicknesses, such as thin and thick, and different colors, and of course different shapes. Okay, that one looks better, so I'm going to grab a hold of this and I'm going to choose a color for it. I think purple isn't going to work over there. Let me go to this one, and that one works pretty well. And I can keep adding on and doing all kinds of things here if I want. I also see that I might want to round off this head right here. We'll click off of that for a second, and that looks pretty good. So if I want to create a beak, I can do so. I'm just going to click on the curve tool again, and I'm going to come into here, and I'm going to just let it be curved. I'm going to come up here and down, and I don't know what color I'm going to use for this. Maybe I'll try this color right here. I'm going to get rid of that outline, and then we're going to see about this. Let me click out of this by going to the select tool up here, and I'm just going to bring this in, and I don't know if I like that, but I'm going to play around with the blue right here. Don't like that. So sometimes it's just about playing around with things and finding out what you like. And I don't know if I'm going to like this curve tool there or not. It's not quite the shape I wanted, and I would probably be better off using the polyline tool. However, this is a very small part of the picture, and I might come back in and fix that later. I'm just going to see if I can bring this up a little bit, make it a little bit bigger here. And that is starting to look better. This is just kind of big and bulky. And that purple is kind of bothering me. So another thing I can do is come into custom, and I can change the angle. Right now it's at 90. I'm going to come down and switch that to 270 and see if I like that better. And I do. And that's kind of blending in. It kind of shows up as the head right there. I just need to click on this, and I realize I want to bring this out a little bit more. See if I can round that off just a little bit more. And I want to work on this shape a little bit more right here too. Clicking on the body of the bird, bringing that out. And I think I'm going to make the chest a little bit bigger here too. And that's looking pretty good overall. I think I'm going to leave that little loop in there. I kind of like that. Now the legs look kind of weird right here, or the feet do. And if I want, I can keep playing around with this too. However, I think that we've gone over a lot of this. I'm just going to bring these out a little bit. Maybe I'll bring this one up here and make it look like it's a little shorter and farther away. And maybe bring this out a little bit for that toe right there. And it looks like I want to make this a little bit thicker right in here. So I'm going to play around with this, the bottom part of the leg right there. And I kind of like the thickness and thin part of the lines and stuff because it looks more exaggerated. And that's what I want to do, what I want when I'm making something kind of whimsical. You know, I want it to look a little bit distorted, kind of like some of the things that you might see in other movies that are a little bit like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or Alice in Wonderland. Just kind of give it that look that it's a little bit off, but makes it more interesting to look at. Okay, now I got that. So what I'm going to do is pull out here by going to View, and I'm going to fit on my canvas size. And there's the whole drawing. That eye isn't showing up well there, so what I'm going to do one more time is go back into view and go up to 200%, and we will just change this. I'm going to get rid of this light part of the eye, and I'm just going to make this bigger, and that's going to show up better. And I can see that I want to curve this just a little bit more. And something needs to be around here to give it a little bit more of an outline. So I'm going to try something real quick. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to the line tool over here, and I'm going to choose just a little bit of a darker blue. So I'm going to click on that color real quick, and then I'm going down to custom, so it will show up here. And I just want to see if I can kind of darken that a little bit. And I think I'm going to take it just a little bit more to the blue over here and click OK. And that gave me a little bit more of an outline. And it's just that with that outline, I have to make sure that this looks a little bit better. And that's looking better overall. And I do need to bring this out a little bit more here too. And let's go zoom back out and see how close we are to being done. Okay, go to view and go back to fit. And that's definitely showing up a little bit better. And that's it for this video. I will continue to make about at least 5 more of these pictures, and I thought that this would be a cute thing to create or something if you want to create your own artwork for a child's room or a baby's room. This is one way you can go about it. So if you like this video, please click like, and I know to make more. And I hope to talk with you soon. Also, please subscribe if you like these videos. Thank you. Bye-bye.